Hey guys, what's up? I'm Chase, and this is the Barely Human podcast. Each week, we discuss the topics on AI that you want to hear about. This week's podcast is also sponsored by Glitch Cat Club School Community, the #1 school community to go from Peter Parker to Tony Stark overnight. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and let's get into it. Definitely up to debate. We should vote on this.
Okay, let's keep it AI, right? My weekend has been interesting because I've always thought that I'm like really like big brain. Like I always thought that like I just see things coming, like the strategy, and everyone else is like got it wrong. So when Anthropic was doing the whole like Fable 50%, it's not going to be on the plan, we're going to extend it, blah 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 blah. I was thinking I'm really big brain, right? And actually what they're doing is they're trying to delay because they're trying to stay competitive with OpenAI, and it's got nothing to do with compute, and it's a whole PR campaign, and Opus, the next Opus is coming, and the next Opus is like amazing, and so they're like holding off, and they keep extending because they're having delays in Opus.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking, something like that, right? And there were some people saying to me, like, more just, not some people, most people were saying like, nah, this is just a PR stunt. Like they're probably just testing the compute to see if they can actually handle it. And as they're scaling with compute, you know, they're seeing, can we do it? Let's do another week. Let's test it. Let's do another week. But obviously that became really challenging as a metric because OpenAI released something. So they're like, oh, are they going to go there, come back? And then, you know, Kimmy, it's like, oh, over here, then Grok. Yeah. So, and then when they made the announcement, I was like, I had mixed feelings. I was like, oh, so it's going to go straight on subscription. We never had the no Fable outside of the government intervention, right? We never had no Fable. And actually, it probably just was them being legitimate, right? And then I kind of thought, wow, my trust in them as a company has gone to zero. Because that actually makes perfect sense, right? As in genuinely, legitimately, the company just wanted to test the amount of compute they had, make sure they made the right call. You know, they didn't, you know, put themselves into a tricky situation. And that's what they said from day one. They were explicit about it, but I did not take their word for it, you know?
So like under promise, over deliver type of thing.
Yeah, but just the fact that, you know, let's go back 6 months. Anthropic to me were my heroes. They were the anti-Altman. You know, they were like the nice guys. They want to do it right. They're doing it for the right reasons. They care about the people, you know? And I was, you know, that's what I believed. And then I started seeing things shifting a bit. Then it was Anthropic's saying no to the government because they don't think their models should be used in war. And I was like, yeah, Anthropic, yeah. Not because of my political leanings, but because just the ethics of it, right? And I was like, that's their model, right? And then out of nowhere, the -P Agent SDK debacle happened. And I was like, what manipulative, nasty, lying behavior that is. It was such a grift. And then I saw them roll back on it and then try and save it. And then the Fable thing. And I was just like, I lost trust. I was like, you know what? You're liars. It's all a PR, you know?
Well, and that whole -P SDK, just to add a little context there, right, was they actually encouraged developers to use it. They specifically said that we support this. We want to see basically developers use more of this. And then a month later, it was like retweeted or commented 3 threads down, like hidden basically, that they then were like, oh, actually, we're going to be changing the way that -P and SDK are built here in the next month. And instead of it being part of your $100 or $200 max plan, we're now going to be billing it on API credits after some small allocated amount.
Yeah, exactly.
All your cron jobs, all your...
I was confused about that because I thought they rolled that back, but then I thought they decided to like extend that and roll that back.
So yeah, Daniel, this is the point. So you're right. Yeah. You're both right. So a little bit more to it than that, right? So yes to both, but the timing is a bit off. So what they did was there was a big drama around Agent SDK and minus P. Why? OpenClaw. OpenClaw came out. Everyone started attaching Claude to OpenClaw, and it was using an obnoxious amount of compute for a sub. And it is ridiculous, right? OpenAI went, we embrace that, right? They said no, and they banned OpenClaw, right? But then developers started to say, well, hold on a second. Okay, we can't use OpenClaw or agents with it, right, in this way. But what about my little UI that I've built, right, that I use to access Claude? I mean, it's just on my machine, but I like my own harness, right? So, you know, and I've got lots of people using it. They said, no, that's fine. You can do that all day long, just not this agent thing. Okay, great. So people started doing that. But then they released this policy change that was so confusing that no one understood it. It took 2 months for them to finally make a statement and say, this is okay, you can do it like this, right? And so everyone was like, oh, full relief, we can do it now. Meanwhile, T3GG and all sorts of people put loads of development hours, months into building things, and then they suddenly announce minus P agent SDK, not just agent SDK, by the way, minus P, which was really like the nasty bit, because that's like you're sitting at your computer doing this stuff. It's not programmatic, right? It's not like what they're implying. Yeah. And they're saying that's going to be metered. But then, of course, there was a massive outrage about it, right? Then just before the time that they were meant to do it, as you rightly said, they folded and they reverted and they sent everyone an email saying, hey, we're gonna rethink this. They still haven't said that they're not going to do it. They've just implied that they need to rethink it.
But I don't get. I still get. That's what I don't understand, because I'm still getting, like, whenever I use it, I'm still getting the credit usage. It's still pulling out of my. I have a limit for how much I can use.
Because but that limit. So this is what I'm saying. There is no programmatic meter for minus P and agent SDK. It doesn't exist. They didn't launch it. What it's doing is taking out usage out of your max plan, which is what it's always done. That's correct. That's what it should use. It's just usual daily use, right? That's the point. But what they were going to do was say, this is your max plan, this is your credit, and anything that touches the specific functions of minus P, which is obviously how you take messages, put them onto a new UI or anything like that, or cron jobs or anything programmatic, or the agent SDK itself, right? All of that is going to be separated from your plan, and we're going to give you a little $200 or whatever your max plan amount is, meter charge, and it's going to be billed at the API cost, which is like, you know, $200. That's like an hour.
No, but gone. For some reason, I still get, when I use the agent SDK through through Hermes, for instance, I quit because it was they did have a separate billing meter that was being used. It didn't activate through my max plan because I would check my usage through through Cloud Platform.
You can config it. You can config that. You can fix that. You can I don't know if it's naughty though, but you can config it not to use the agent SDK if that's the problem. You can just have it literally use your auth. But it's questionable because Hermes and OpenClaw have always been questionable. That's the point. Yeah. But standard minus P use, I mean, just printing. I mean, even something as simple as like you create, like Chase and I created an algorithm during an MVP that we were doing. So we wanted to see if we could have our own algorithm within the harness. So I would submit a prompt, and then there would be a little prompt injection that says, route this prompt very quickly to a lesser model to determine how it should be routed in our algorithm. And that should dictate the methodology for how you then respond. Okay. This system works. It was perfect, but it requires minus P because the routing of that prompt injection and to pass it on to a model is minus P. I'm not doing anything magical here. I'm sitting at my computer doing a tiny 5 or 6 word prompt inject and literally saying, use one of your own other lesser models like a sub agent, but I want
Right.
it to work efficiently, right? I don't want it to launch a sub-agent, wait in the terminal, you know, all that rigmarole. I just want it to be instant on the submit prompt hook, right? And I couldn't do that without -p. So if you think about how limiting this is, it's hugely limiting as a developer. If you want to create harnesses, meta harnesses, expand, use your own UI, you know, if I want to have the terminal experience, but I want it to be in a prettier UI, nothing more than that, just that simple thing. I
Well,
need -p.
and a great example, I think, to tie it back to like OpenClaw and Hermes, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, but there's that heartbeat, right? That's one of the underlying principles of OpenClaw, which made it so unique, is the fact that it had this cron job that would run every 30 minutes that would function as a heartbeat, right? And so it would either process files that were sitting there, it would check on things for you if you had it connected in that way. And so just that alone would be 48 times a day that you would be running that cron job. You think about then in a month, 30 times 48, you know, we're almost at 1,500 times that cron job would be run. And that's just the heartbeat alone. So $200 of API tokens for 1,500 heartbeats, that alone would have killed your entire
Meter.
your full meter on it. And so I know for myself, I use what is it called? It's like a Chronicle. I think it's Chronicle, and it's a cron job management platform, right? In there, I probably have easily 800 cron jobs that are running per day, because I'm just checking things, right? If I want to pull something and I want to pull it every 5 minutes, that's 12 times an hour. There's 10 things that I want to be polling, that's 120 polls an hour. Like, it just adds up
don't worry
so
about
fast.
Yeah, don't worry about all your clients. Don't worry about all their processes. Don't worry. You've got a month. We're shutting it off in a month. Go and fix it. You know, go and fix it, because we've made a decision that wasn't well communicated and we've given you no time. This is what the whole drama was about, Daniel, right? So the fact that they haven't done it is good. The fact we still don't know if they might do it is annoying, right? Because it feels like when it happened, that's when everything changed. That's when there was the exodus to OpenAI's 5.5, which was a great model, still is a great model, right? I know 5.6 is even better, but 5.5 at the time. And everyone just went, well, I've got this agent harness that I built, and I've got this other thing that I built, and I can't use this anymore. So I'm going to have to try getting OpenAI's 5.5 to work. And the only problem was OpenAI's 5.5 is pretty darn good. And the people that hadn't switched because they just never wanted to context switch and change, because it's hard when people like something to leave and try something else, right? They've built something there, they know it, they feel familiar. They now were forced to do it and they liked it. So they stayed. They lost a lot of business. And the argument was always, you know, well, did they really care? Probably not that much initially, because they're the leaders in enterprise anyway. So like, what do we represent as average consumers and developers? Almost nothing. But the PR damage, whew, you know, insane. It hit the IPO valuation. You know, investors start asking questions, right? So it's been a big disaster for them. So so back to the Fable thing. When the Fable thing, to just full loop back, in the words of Boris Cherny, we loop now, in the full loop back, right? When they announced Fable and all these delays, I thought something malicious is going on. But turns out they were just saying, hey, we just needed to test compute. and it's probably true. And I'm happy about it. But like, that was the weekend, man. That was the weekend.
It's a much more philosophical weekend than I've had.
What'd you do?
I watched, have you guys, so I don't know what it is, but I just can't, fictional TV just doesn't really draw me in as much anymore. I don't know why, but, and that's really saying a lot, because I used to be like, because I really am like, I'm really like, when it comes to like stories and movies and all this, like I'm full on, you know what I mean? Like since I was like a kid. So I used to really dig fictional television. But the thing is, like with me, is like I just feel like anymore, every story that I try to get into or whatever, like I just get so, I don't know, disappointed in the writing or whatever it is, like with the show. So my new thing is docuseries. That's what I'm like, I get drawn into. So they
Mm.
dropped this past week, they dropped on Paramount Plus, they dropped a the Real Wolf of Wall Street docu series. I think it's like a 4 episode series, but it's like everybody else that was involved in the story, right? So like everybody that's not given their side of what happened was in this docu series versus everybody that has. So there was nobody like Jordan wasn't involved with this docu series at all. Like he didn't want to be interviewed, he didn't want to be a part of it. They didn't invite him, but he didn't want to do it. So that's what I did. I watched I watched the entire thing. I think it was
That's
like
dope.
I think it was like Friday night. At Friday night, I watched the entire thing. I was just like, I was enveloped in this story because it's way more insane. Like the first thing they say when it starts is like if you've seen the Wolf of Wall Street and you read the book, they're like the book, like the movie. Like I remember reading the book before I saw the movie, and I thought like the movie's really wild, but like if you've read the book, you know like it gets even more insane. And what they start the documentary series with is like if you have seen the movie or read the book, it doesn't begin to scratch the surface of how crazy everything was.
I
And like,
believe it.
yeah, and it really, I mean, it just really was like their entire life was just the most insane. It's just the most insane shit you could possibly imagine. Like just
I
like
believe it.
these guys had brokerages that they were setting up that were separate, that were supposed to be like autonomous, right? I mean, like they were supposed to be like their own brokerage. Like they weren't supposed to have anything to do with Stratton Oakmont. And I remember like I think it was like I don't know, but this was when I was still living in Tampa. I met a guy who used to work for maybe Stratton or an associated firm related to Stratton. And like towards the end though, like towards the end before it all like crashed. And I remember like he did say that there were like the way that things ended, like the movie over dramatized everything the way that there was like when it ended very like abruptly. Like like there was no speech. Like Jordan didn't come to the office and give some speech. Like Jordan just disappeared one day and like just didn't come back to the office. And he's like, we all got an email like a year later. He's not only like been like a broker there for like a year, we all get an email like basically just don't come to the office today. Like we're done. He's we all thought we got hacked. We thought something had happened, like somebody had like infiltrated the system or whatever. And he goes, and I call like one of the managers and I'm like, hey, like what's this, what's this bullshit email? He's like, no, it's real. It's 100%. Like we're done. We're packing it up. We're done. Because
What time period was this? So
this was
when
like
was
actually
Strat?
this is all is taking place like early to late 90s, but like really it ended in 1996. 1996 was the year
Okay.
that the brokerage that Stratton closed. But the crazy thing is that the other two brokerages were still open at that time. So like they had these two other brokerages called one was called like Belmont, which was in Fort Lauderdale, and the other one was called I can't remember the name of it, but it was called something else, and it was like up near like sort of like in the northeastern area as well. And those basically were guys who worked for Stratton, and Donnie and Jordan had convinced them to go and open their own brokerage and said like we'll fund it. We're going to go and like you open your own thing, like we'll fund the entire operation, but like we'll be able to do things together. Like you guys are going to operate independently of us, but we're going to like still work together, which is 100% illegal. Like if you run a brokerage, you cannot legally go and run like talk about deals that are happening within your brokerage to another brokerage because that's insider trading. That's literally the exact term of why they call it insider trading. It's because like if I'm trading and I go and I call a friend of mine who's a broker, like even if I'm day trading and I go and call a friend of mine who's a broker and I
That's
tell
wild.
him the trade I'm about to make, that's insider trading. Like if I sit there and say like if you have a client that holds this stock, I'm about to make this trade. You need to do that. Like you need to do X, Y, and Z as well. that's you can't do that. You can't give that information. Like that's all supposed to be private information. And if you get caught doing that, like I mean, that's 100% illegal.
I mean, it was a different world then. Like, I'm trying
Yeah,
to think
everything
back.
was
So
analog.
yeah, but also like just the nature of the behavior. Like,
Yeah,
I'm thinking about the finance industry, right? So I'm thinking back in what, 2010-ish, 2010 to 2013, I was starting out my career in investment banking at Deutsche Bank. And I was picking up the fallout of the Bernie Madoff stuff. So all the funds, which was what, 2008-ish, right? And I remember what it was like, right? In the investment bank. I was like a junior guy. I was learning, but I'd never seen it. I mean, I was on the trading floor, right? In the investment bank, in equities. And I was doing I was doing like DMA, which is machine learning, right? Back then in the quants. But it was kind of like I was junior, and like the behavior of traders, like occasionally we'd be invited out for drinks, like with clients,
yeah.
oh, like, hey, we're going out for drinks. Do you want to come? And you'd just be like, oh yeah, like sweet, like, it's gonna be great. And we'd go, and like the behavior was so hedonistic. I remember being like that, and they would be saying things to me like, oh, but we have to behave nowadays. Like the good old days are gone. And I was thinking like, this is behaving. Like this behavior that I'm watching is behaving. Yeah. And then that's why I asked for the time period, because I was like, oh, I'm curious. But that would have been like
Well, do
in
you
the
know what
heart
changed?
of like,
I learned from this documentary that there was legislation that was passed that allowed federal investigations to, like, because originally the SEC just oversaw everything, I guess. And basically, if you got caught, like if something happened where they figured that you had fraudulent activity or whatever, they would just sue you, right? The government would sue you basically for, or fine you, kind of like when the government sues you, it's a fine, but you're being sued by the government. So these guys would just pay it. So at one point, they were paying, I don't even know how many millions of dollars it was a year, like maybe $12 million a year in just like fines and settlement fees and all kinds of stuff associated with like all these people who were like coming back. And they were just constantly being audited by the SEC. So the SEC was just constantly just turning over paper, and they were just like filing this and filing that. And they were just like, oh, it's just the cost of doing business. But the difference of what ended up changing the fact of is they switched like an actual, like they created like a division where it's like actual white collar crime. So now you could be prosecuted by the federal government for a crime associated with doing white collar crime. But before like securities trading couldn't be considered a criminal offense. And that changed.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's still a regional problem, right? Like I'm thinking like I still see a lot of like boiler room outfits setting up in Spain.
It's just switched over to things like but I mean, let's be honest. I mean, like that's exactly what we're doing here with OpenAI and Anthropic and all these companies. Like these evaluations are absolutely just made up of they're built on just sandcastles. Like these are sandcastle evaluations. And truthfully, and everybody associated is insider trading, and it's not considered criminality because they're private companies. So it's like because they're basically building an IPO, which is exactly what they did in this company's strategy. Was like how they made the most amount of money was in IPOs, which is the initial public offering, right? So they would take a company but the problem is like Jordan and Donnie were like doing it with like the karate studio, you know what I mean, in like on Long Island, right? Like they literally had some karate. These guys were so cocky at one point. They had a karate studio that had 3 locations in Long Island, New York, and it was like a local like mom and pop karate studio. That's all it was. Like we're talking like Karate Kid type of karate studio, right? That's all they had. It wasn't like, and it wasn't nationwide. It wasn't Starbucks, right? They had like 3 locations, and they did an IPO for this karate studio. And that's really what triggered the SEC to be like, wait a minute, hold on 1 second.
IP hold.
These kids going to this karate studio, how is this valued at like this stock price? But like they would
$30 billion. Yeah,
they would work with the other brokerages that they opened. And then they would also call their friends on Wall Street at other firms. Yeah. And they had this ring basically where they would manipulate the price of a company to the point when it went IPO and they launched it. The company themselves had all of these rat holes, basically, which are individuals who are supposed to be independent, right? Independent holders of a stock. And basically, those people would go in and hold a certain percentage of shares at the IPO. But all of those people all worked cohesively for Stratton Oakmont. The biggest problem is when those rat holes all dumped their stock and pulled out all this money when the stock went sky high.
They got to make their money. That's the point.
Yeah. So when they pull it out, they had to pay Jordan and Donnie this money, right? Because they were owed a certain amount of money, but they couldn't wire it to them. So they would pull it out in cash and they would give it to them. This guy had so much cash. Like one of the guys on the documentary said Jordan at one point had so much cash in his house that he just didn't know where to put it, like what to do with it. He's like, I don't know how much cash he had, but I know for a fact he had like $3 million in his living room at one point. He's like, one day, like I walked in this guy's house. I walk into his house and he goes, he's at the top of the stairs as I come in. He had this long stairwell as you come in. He's like, I walk into the front door. He goes, hey, I got something for you. And he drops the shopping bag from Nordstrom's and like it falls from the top of the stairs, just like smacks into the ground. He's and I look inside this bag and inside the bag is $1 million in cash. They didn't know what to do with it. They had all this cash, and they were like drug dealers at this point.
This is like some Heisenberg. Reminds me of the bed of cash that the guys lay down.
Exactly.
On.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Yeah. We need to start like the revamp Cobra Kai PLC. That's going to be the name of our next AI founded company, like Cobra Kai AI. Oh, that sounds good. Cobra Kai AI.
Cobra Kai AI. Yeah.
Ooh.
I think there might be. I think there might be intellectual property on that name.
I don't know.
I think we might get sued. Yeah, on our first show.
It's available. CobraKai.ai.
I believe it. I believe that for sure.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, but awesome. These companies now, like they're all built off of, because basically when OpenAI goes public, right? Because eventually it will go public. But the price of the stock is heavily manipulated to try and counteract the massive amount of debt that they've accumulated over the past 5 years.
Well, look, so it's debatable, right? It's debatable, right? And I'm thinking about how valuations work at IPO. And they're not always profit-led valuations, right? I think it's like, I'll give you an example, right? They have the largest volume of users of any AI company in the world, right? It's something like I think they hit like 1 billion, right? Now most of those don't pay, right? Most of those don't even have a subscription, but they've got they've got the market, right? And so it's like there's a lot of forecasted valuation. Any IPO always does this, and ultimately the valuation in the market is what educated investors are willing to pay, right? So sure. these aren't investors who don't know this stuff, right? But it is kind of, is it sustainable, really? Like, I don't know enough about it, but from the news that I've read, I mean, it definitely feels like a real bubble, when you look at these companies. I think Anthropic is a different case because they've got so much enterprise profit. It's actually absurd, right? And so they have a much more profit-led forecast than a potential market-led forecast.
Well, didn't they just hit their first month of profits just this year?
Which is, I don't know if that's
Anthropic,
true, but if that's true, that's insane. That's insane, because their growth numbers have been 1000x, literally, like unheard of numbers, right? I mean, they're looking at trillions in valuation, right? Like, it's pretty wild. I think.
So real quick, just to add in there, to confirm it, yeah, Anthropic recently turned a quarterly operating profit, Q2 of 2026.
Yeah, see that.
First one, which is, given how much debt they're all in.
That's insane.
Kim, I think you might be right, dude. I think Anthropic, especially because OpenAI is
that's not net profit, that's operating profit. So they're saying for this quarter, but that doesn't mean that they've circled back on the amount of debt.
True.
Yeah.
I'm searching it.
Because that's completely different than, because like if you quantify that, like technically my company last month reached operating profit, but we still have huge investment costs that we haven't
paid back. And
like we haven't gotten all that back. Like that's going to take probably into next year to recoup all of the money that
So looking at their financials, their public financials, what were you talking about? Mid-May 2026, Chase?
I said Q2 of 2026.
Yeah, okay. So mid-May 2026, the run rate revenue was 47 bill, right? So what does that mean? It means that their latest month
3.9 billion
12 would be a minus a projection not booked annual revenue, right? So estimated actual booked revenue for 2026 would be like 2025 bill, right? I'm doing some quick maths, right? So growth is going to be, so that would okay. So that makes sense. So their valuation is just under $1 trillion, right? But to your point, Daniel, you're right. The first profitable quarter will be, as you say, Q2 2026, Chase, but it's operating profit, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be what, like probably minus 500 mil operating profit, right?
They did 559 million.
No.
Where's that number?
In operating profit.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. 550. Yeah, that's right. Because operating profit. So it's not true bottom line,
no,
as you say, net profit, right? Because divided by EBITDA, right? So I don't know what that would be. So share of, I'm trying to look at some of the numbers from the report. Yeah, so you're right. You're both right. But it's not net revenue, but it's still amazing. I mean, like, I don't know, man.
And they're still investing. The thing is too, is like they're still investing money back in. So the debt is actually going to continue to go up. It's just that 559 million is now going to be applied to what they can spend, but the debt is only going to continue to increase.
Yeah, and it's operating debt, right? It's compute. It's like, that's where a majority of the debt is coming from.
Yeah,
I think that's why they're in a race to automate research, because they basically want to get rid of the researchers. If you look at what are their biggest fixed costs, right? It's going to be their team and those obnoxious salaries, right? And it's going to be compute, right? Fundamentally, right? So I'd imagine they're probably rushing to get rid of the researchers first. It's easier than the compute problem. But I'm talking out of like hypothetical. I'm guessing, but I think it makes sense. Like,
I just think that it's interesting that how many people are heavily invested into this, into the idea of it getting to a point where, because basically from what I understand from like what Sam Altman has said is that their idea, specifically this OpenAI strategy, is that he doesn't have any idea how to make it profitable. So what he's saying is that they're telling investors that the idea is that they're going to make AI so intelligent that they're banking on the fact that it will get to the point where it will become so far past our level of intelligence that it will then be able on its own to figure out how it can become a profitable system and wipe away the debt.
I mean, it's not a bad gamble.
Yeah.
The race to kind of super intelligence is not a bad gamble, because I do think the trajectory that they're on, they can get to that point of like super intelligence.
Why does it even matter at that point though? It's like, why does it even matter with where the debt? Because like, if AI is so smart, so much farther past our own intelligence, at that point, what is currency even really? Does currency really matter that much?
Well, and I think about it too.
That's the point.
I think about it as well, coming from like the commercial real estate side, where debt is just a lever, right? A lot of the times, people will do like cash out refinances to liquidate a bunch of equity and then maintain a pretty large debt portion. They're still eating well, but from the outside, it's like, oh, there's a lot of debt still left on this, apartment building. I wonder how much of it behind the scenes, is that, and people, like you guys were saying, insider trading going on with that.
There's a lot of insider dealings going on.
The problem is that you can live inside of a apartment building. Like it's physical. Like I said the same thing about NFTs. Like there's real world application to building real estate. The problem with all of this is like you can't live inside of a data center. You know what I mean? Like there's nowhere like outside of the data centers themselves, what is actually located physically inside of the real world that's tangible, that is, you can pull something out and go sell it for part. Like you can't sell, like let's say AI busts, you can't go out and sell, like fire sell a language model.
But you can sell intelligence. Yeah, you put intelligence in a robot and you've just revolutionized manufacturing at the cost of employees, right? But so intelligence is not something that you can't manifest into the real world. It's like blockchain is great technology, but like you say, NFTs less utility, right? As an idea, so it's more conceptual. Like I think super intelligence is very feasible, and super intelligence is classified as equal to or greater than human intelligence, right? That level. It's not AGI. It's not, which is what LeCun would argue is like not possible with LLMs, and he's got a good point because of a whole bunch of technical stuff. But super intelligence, that race, and so the idea that you can then ask it how to make itself profitable, and the idea that it can't be leveraged as a physical asset, I think it's a module within physical assets, right? Like I said, like robotics is the obvious one, right? Robotic cars, robotic job stuff, the entire market. But the question is then, what does that do to the rest of the market, right? Because in all of those use cases, which are very obvious, what does it do to, employment? What does it do to other growth, levers? It's like, it's a very complicated and dangerous game, right? Because I'm struggling to see how this ends well, and I love AI. I'm like a total advocate for AI. I love it. It's my business.
Well, yeah,
but
sure.
I'm struggling to see how this ends well, because I'm not I'm not seeing government. I'm not seeing government anywhere in the world taking the right steps to actually plan and solve this. And why would I? They can't solve problems in their own nations, right?
They move too slow.
I'm from the UK, right? I'm from London. I know, I'm sorry. But the thing is like our government did this AI preparation website. They paid a consultancy called Deloitte to do it. They paid them $4.5 million. You should have seen this vibe coded website. It was so bad that people complained after 3 weeks and it was shut down permanently. That cost 4 million. You, me, and Chase could have vibe coded a better website in 5 hours.
There was something in Australia too. Wasn't there like some type of government website? They did the same. They paid somebody like, I want to say it was like 27 million.
That was Deloitte. I don't know the number, but that was also Deloitte, and that was for some that was research report.
This is there's money being moved from somebody's. I do not believe that this is somebody made money somewhere. That was a government contract allocation, so they could
no.
I just want to know how many bags of money were exchanged for this. How many cash bags?
Nobody's that stupid.
No. They are. Listen, consultants, the big consultants, right? KPMG, Deloitte, Accenture, and the likes, Morgan McKinsey, whatever, right? These guys are grifters. They are grifters. That's what they do. They've got really powerful sales teams. They do attract some really smart consultants, right? Who, have some domain expertise. And what's their business model been? We go into businesses, we help them fix their problems, their operating model, their strategy or whatever, right? And they have these relationships with very senior management in these big enterprises, right? And they win contracts, right? And then all it takes for them to do, right? AI becomes a trend. Their data team, their data practice or whatever takes on with data and AI now. And they start selling how they've got the brightest AI minds, but actually they don't. And it's the same sales guys. And they offload this work to a bunch of people who claim they're good at AI, but they didn't know how to do that. And so they go into Gemini and create a deep research report, right? And they haven't checked the citations or anything, right? And they just say they passed it off as their own. And that was it. They were paid millions and none of the citations were accurate. They were made up. They were hallucinated.
But Kim, it looked really pretty. But the graphs looked pretty and the UI looked pretty.
Yeah, it looks good. It's good. AI is good at that. AI is good at confidence, isn't it?
And I think a lot of those C-suite people that you mentioned, they have really good relationships. People at that level, often they just want to be able to glance at something and quickly understand, and it looked good. Like, oh, okay, this all makes sense to me. But at the end,
they want to get their money's worth. Deloitte. I don't think Deloitte got away with that. Like, I think they were in a lot of trouble for that. It might have been KPMG. So I've got to be careful with my Deloitte, KPMG, whoever. I might get it wrong. So don't hold me to this, guys. I might get it wrong. But it's one.
We're gonna get shut down like our first episode ever. We're gonna get sued by Deloitte.
Yeah, let me look it up.
We're gonna receive a demand letter, a cease and desist in the mail.
Have you guys seen the kid that has he has some Instagram channel where he's like, working at Deloitte, and it's all these funny you guys haven't seen that?
No.
Skits.
It was Deloitte. It was Deloitte, confirmed. It was Deloitte from Fortune magazine. I'm just looking it up. Deloitte was caught using AI in a much less $290,000 report to help the Australian government crack down on welfare after a researcher flagged hallucinations. So it was Deloitte. So sue me, Deloitte. Sue me. I got it right.
No, I guess, they can't. Yeah.
It's on Fortune. So
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, can I share screen? Are we?
Oh yeah. Let's go.
All right. Make sure I share the right one. Let's make real quick. Make sure the audio actually shares as well. That'll be just embarrassing otherwise. Yep, that'd help.
What are we looking at?
So these guys, I don't know if they worked at Deloitte or if they still do, but they make comedy skits about working at Deloitte. And I've never worked there. I don't know anyone that works there. I worked at Marcus and Millichap, which is also a, I feel like a semi-similar culture. So
I can't believe I wet the bed last night.
How people who work at Deloitte clean up after they wet the bed.
One kiss is all it takes.
How normal people clean up after.
These guys are hilarious. But, yeah.
You can and you should be.
Okay, well. Anyways. Gimp masks over here on
We're sharing content. That's it.
Yeah.
Sharing content.
For comedy purposes only.
I don't know. That pretty much matches my experience of being in those types of consultancies.
Is the GIMP mask in the desk to your right?
I mean,
wall.
that
Is
was
that-
optional.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why I was
that
pushing. That's what I was pushing away. I was making sure that nobody could identify me. Yeah, I guess because what was that deal with like J.P. Morgan Chase? Wasn't there like something similar with like some guy was like saying, I don't know, that he was like, but that ended up being false, right? It ended up being like he fabricated the entire story.
What's that about? Which one? What are you talking about?
Some guy said he was working at J.P. Morgan, and he had a female senior vice president,
very attractive young female vice president, by the way. Very attractive. Just to add that in there.
Yeah, who supposedly was using him as like her sex pet. Supposedly.
Yeah. I vaguely remember this story.
He was like an Indian guy too. That was
Yeah.
It was.
He had like a
Kama Sutra, baby. Kama Sutra. Don't knock it till you try it. You know, hey, shout out to my Indian crew. Yeah,
I knew that this story. I was like, there's no way that this story is fake. When he was sitting there talking about, like, he said something about like she had made a comment talking about like his wife looked like she was looking like your wife looks like she has a fishbowl on her head or something, because his wife is like Eastern Asian, so or something like that. So she supposedly made some comment saying like your wife looks like she's looking through a fishbowl because like her eyes are too far apart on her head or whatever. Like this was a real, but insane. I knew, I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way that anybody's making this joke.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? In 2026, I was like, I don't believe this.
That's crazy. No, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. That's crazy. Listen,
that's the goal. That's the goal, is to make a company that's so wealthy at one point that you have scandals like, because you're not really successful until you have.
You can't listen.
People making shit up.
You can't like, I can't brush like a female member of staff's shoulder like as a manager when I was working in these places to be like, oh, how was your weekend? Like, was it okay? That would be considered inappropriate, right? I'd be pulled up from HR for that kind of stuff. Like, this idea that kind of stuff was going on is just, to me, just seems out.
This is the kind of stuff that I dream about, Kim. I dream about having a company at one point where my HR division is so.
Talk to me.
It's so boggled down. It's so boggled down with scandals and. That's how you know. That's how you really know that your company's made it, is when you guys are like on the front page.
if you need an agent of chaos to give your current business that life, I'm willing and able to take on the responsibility.
I think Glitch is going to need an HR department soon with the way Tim is headed.
I'm telling you, listen, I can't help it. You know, you can only be who you are. You know, if you hate, you know, it's fine. Fine. Just at me when you do it, because I need the engagement. Like, so, you know, I'll appreciate it. Oh my God.
Well, speaking of drama, what do you guys think about the Apple and OpenAI drama that's going on right now? Because this is going beyond.
One?
I honestly didn't even know about this until you told.
What is it? Which one is it? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
yeah. I do know.
It was I believe it was the Apple was hiring a bunch of people from OpenAI, and then while they were doing the transfer over, they stole all of this stuff from Apple. But that's right. OpenAI was, I think, hiring people from Apple, and they started stealing like secrets and downloading schematics for physical hardware and things that very much suggest like, oh yeah, OpenAI is going to get into either phones or wearables or, you know, something else.
So Apple sent a letter to OpenAI in February to raise concerns that confidential information could be making its way to OpenAI's business improperly.
Yeah, this was filed Friday, July the 10th, so it's still pretty fresh. But yeah, the claim is 400 hires, bring parts to the interview is kind of the narrative, right? But yeah, it seems pretty fresh. But it wouldn't surprise me, right? And there's obviously some level of non-compete, right? So,
Well, in
I mean, these are big
OpenAI
companies.
and Apple earlier this year were discussing a partnership and doing things together. And I think this was back in March. And it just slowly kind of disappeared. Like you didn't hear about it anymore. And now it's coming to light like, oh yeah, there was pure espionage going on behind the scenes. And so yeah, the deal's probably dead in
Mr.
the water
Ive
now,
and
but
Mr.
It
Tan?
was China. It was China. China's responsible.
Dude, what
That's
are
what
the
it must be.
I mean, I
what
think
are
the
these
workers might have been
Mr.
Chinese.
Mr. Ive and Mr. Tan?
Well, now we just need Mr. Brown, Mr. Blue.
Mr.
What are these there? Mr.
Mr.
Lu?
Oh, look, see, it's China. It's China. I told you. It was
Lu.
China.
Apple
China.
accused another former employee, Chang Lu, of using a former colleague's Apple-owned laptop to gain access to and download technical documents while
That's
working
pretty
at the
gnarly.
company.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild.
Mr.
We'll
Lu
see.
told the Apple employee what information about unannounced products she should study before job interviews.
That's wild.
So is it how much is it an actual lawsuit or is it a complaint?
They filed. No,
Okay.
They filed on where is it? I just read it here. They filed Friday, July the 10th in the Northern District of California. Apple sent a warning letter back in February, and the 400 plus hires part. Yeah, so let me see if I can find a bit more.
This starts also looking at the angle of what's the difference between stealing data and then poaching a whole team. I mean, here it was blatantly stealing. Like they are downloading schematics, they are downloading blueprints.
Yeah,
IP.
that's IP. That's IP there.
Yeah,
like you can't. But even like what you've got in your mind, if a company wants to protect itself against that, then they have to have non-compete and say you can't work for another company for 3 months, a year, whatever it is, right? It's a competitor. That's up to the contract, right?
Well, so then what if the company hires the entire team from, a competitor?
Hey, do a better job keeping your team. Welcome to capitalism, baby.
True.
I mean, that's it. You either have non-compete or not. But taking IP, literal IP, is very, very different. Like, if you take the documents and the schemas and the reports and the evaluations, and that's a different ballgame.
Very black and white. Yeah.
Well, if you take what's in here, that's a different story, right? Yeah, it's. I mean, that's why you hire people. You hire.
In its lawsuit on Friday, Apple accused Mr. Tan of coaching his hires from Apple on how to evade Apple's security processes for departing employees.
That's pretty bad if that's true. I mean, it happens. What can you say? Yeah.
OpenAI, since it has acquired I/O, more than 400 former Apple employees now work for OpenAI. But I mean, essentially, where do you draw the line? Because isn't a lot of there's a lot of employees that work for Anthropic, right? That were originally from OpenAI.
Deep Mind. Google. Almost all of them have left after the last Gemini failed release date. They almost all left en masse from the UK office to the UK Anthropic office.
So, I mean, you can't just build a lawsuit after this. They really have to be able to definitively be saying that they're not just leaving the company. It's not like they're just recruiting people from the company to build. They're saying that they're recruiting people by saying, when you leave, take some shit, basically. On your way out, go grab XYZ, documents from the from the server room, and on your way out of the office on Friday, before you write your resignation letter, go grab XYZ from this from so and so's computer. Here's how you evade the security. If they have actual documented processes of these things happening. But I mean, how dumb how stupid can you be to leave communication like this so wide out in the open? And personally, I will say that I do feel like people who work at OpenAI seem to be far more ignorant technically than people who work at Apple, because I've come into contact with people who work at Apple or have worked for Apple in the past. These are like highly, highly recruited individuals. Like they don't just go and grab Joe Schmo off the street and hand him a letter. But the problem is with Anthropic and OpenAI is that they need so many people. They have to have so many people that they are essentially they're scraping the pavement. They're scraping the pavement at the point where Anthropic is even offering people like, well, like you want to sit at home, and just not do anything and not go to an office anymore. Like we'll pay you, X amount of dollars to go and be a researcher, for us, and because they're out of people. And the other thing is now we have this dissolution from the American government with the Chinese government. So with OpenAI now specifically, because they now have contracted with the American government and they took Anthropic's place inside of that little, partnership, they can't just go and just grab people from China. Like that's not allowed. And it's not like they can be international in terms of like their connections and workspace and all those kinds. So they literally are limited to American individuals, basically. Like, so all the people that you can hire.
So the reason a lot of people left DeepMind and OpenAI is because like a lot of DeepMind are based in the UK. Obviously, that's where the company started, right?
Yeah.
And I heard that a lot of them were offered gigs they shut down their offices in the UK. And it just so happened to be that Anthropic just set up offices in the UK about 10 feet from DeepMind. And they basically said, you can come and work here.
They're like tunneling under the ground. They're like
yeah,
setting up an underground railroad.
Meanwhile, over at Apple, send all my Google Drive docs to Gemini. Please send all my Google Drive docs to my private email. Make no mistakes. Say hi to Jason.
Email's fine.
I actually just sent you guys a WhatsApp just this second of a job posting that someone shared me. I don't know if it's legit. It could be a joke, but I'll read it to you. It's Google. It's a Google jobs from easy apply LinkedIn type thing, and it's the title of the role is senior vibe coder, and it says skills HTML, artificial intelligence, 300,000 a year. If that's real, senior vibe coder. If that's what we've got to, where they're hiring senior vibe coders.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're at the point where we're like, so I don't know if you guys ever did drugs, but I used to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you guys ever, but I promise I'm going somewhere with this.
I played the fifth.
But what I can say is like when there is a certain point, like when you get to a certain, you're just like searching for something, right? Like I feel like that's the level that we've reached at, is where we're just like we're circling the block, you know what I mean? A couple of times, like I think I heard Theo Vaughn on his podcast saying with that, he's like, he got so bad for me at one point. He's like, I would walk the block, you know what I mean, a couple of times just to see if anybody drop something, you know what I mean, by accident. You know what I mean? Looking at, I'd be like, all right, this block's clear, we're moving on. But realistically, I feel like that's where a lot of these companies have gotten to, because it is so similar, right? Like if you look at Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI, and even X, right? Like they're so similar in how they're all trying to compete. and they really don't want to like try to work together because they're like, oh, if we work together with this guy, like we don't want to give them any ideas because they're going to steal this shit from us, whatever. But meanwhile, I feel like it's more just like it's like the kids on a playground, like being recruited. It's like the the captain's like, I want you, on my team, and and this person. And so, but we're at the point where it's like the fat kid is the one who's left, and like the little tiny skinny kid that nobody wants either. So it's kind of like it's all like who do we pick? It's like you have four captains, and they're like I said, they're like, oh, like who do we choose? Really nobody great to select from. So it's kind of like they're at the point where they just need one more player constantly though. So I think like the only thing left after that is information, right? So the only thing left after you're getting to because realistically, when you're looking at companies like Apple, Apple is a serious technology business. I mean, like they've been around so much longer, so much farther. And like if you wanted to go and work at Apple when vibe coding wasn't a thing, and you wanted to go and work at like you really had to know your stuff. Like you couldn't just go and get a job at Apple being like you don't even know what JSON stands for. You can't go and get a job at Apple. You know what I mean? But like there's people who are going and getting jobs at OpenAI and have never looked into understanding Python or anything like that their entire lives, and they're recruiting from like the lowest of the low just because they just need people doing.
Do you think so?
100%.
I think also, dude, it's really interesting you say that because I feel like nowadays they're looking for people with, as dumb as it sounds, a vibe. Like you could come in and you have this very interesting, mystique,
this is
crystals
exactly
with you,
this is Stratton
like,
Oakmont.
That person's
in
probably
the
smart.
AI world. This is exactly what they were doing. Like, and they talked about this in the documentary, which was funny. Going back to that, like they talked about this. They were like, at one point, we were recruiting people who had no knowledge of securities at all. Like they don't have any financial background whatsoever. He's like, actually, when we were recruiting individuals, we actually preferred you to not have any financial background that's professional. Because we're like, honestly, the more less professional that you are, the better. Because what we needed really was young, dumb, broke, and hungry, right? Like if you had those four attributes.
Shit, sounds like the name of my upcoming bio. Like my upcoming, like that sounds like the name of my upcoming book.
Young, dumb, broke, and hungry.
And hungry. Yeah. It sounds like story of my coming soon. So,
that's actually is a great name for a book, to be honest.
Young, dumb. Is it young, dumb, and hungry?
Young, dumb, broke, and hungry. Yeah.
Broke. Oh yeah, broke. Gotta have broke. young, dumb, broke,
at the top of the list.
Add ugly in there if you're really looking for the plot.
Yeah. We'll sell body for Pepe coin.
I feel like that's what we're looking for. Like they don't even care. They're like, are you willing? Like their job description at this point is like, are you willing to go and try and run out of Apple headquarters with some shit? Like, are you willing to go in there, try to break in? Run out of there with some papers.
I mean, how much?
Like that's.
I mean, how? I don't know, man. All right, so look. I would never do that. I would never, because I'm a straight,
not a fast runner.
Yeah, right. Because I'm young, dumb, broke, and slow. Yeah, no, serious. I wouldn't. Obviously, I'm a professional. I wouldn't do it. But I'm not gonna lie, right? There's been many times in my career, right, where I've been like working on a project. Like I can think of this time, right? I was working at this consultancy. One of the big ones, and we set up this like data practice, right? And then I got hired to move over to UBS to run the data management for the investment bank and finance and stuff. And when they were bringing me in, they were like, "Oh, we're really curious about this and this." And there was a part of me that was like, "I've got this work computer at home. I've got all these documents. Like I could just print them off. I could just print them off, get a pack, and it would give me a massive head start, right?" Because like a lot of the work is done, right? And I was like, should I do it? And I was like, I don't know. And it crossed my mind, right? And I was thinking there are ways, right? That's why it surprises me. Like, it would be interesting to hear like what they actually did, because I could totally see a situation where someone just prints off from their personal computer and that gets found out. Because it's easy to make a mistake like that. You think, oh, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know.
I really hope this goes to trial. I'd
love to know like the details.
The docu-series that will be made in the next 5 years of
You
all
and
this
your
stuff,
docu.
I'm gonna have content for weeks.
I'll tell you what one I'm quite interested in. I've seen it advertised, but I've not seen it on any of like the channels that you can, like the free online digital TV channels.
Yeah.
But like there's one that's been advertised quite a lot, which is like Finding Satoshi. Yeah, as in like the
crypto
Bitcoin
guy.
Yeah.
Epstein? What?
No, but no. Finding Satoshi, and no, Epstein's another story. That's in my bundle for like serial killer documentaries, which I love.
No. He's actually.
They think that he's Satoshi now.
That's there's emails in the files that.
They think Epstein is Satoshi. No, I don't believe that.
Well, no. But there's actually emails in the files because it was a way for them to move more money around without being traced, basically. Which is all they were.
I can believe. Yes. I can believe 100% that Epstein leveraged Bitcoin.
Sorry, where's my goal?
That I can believe. But Epstein coding in C++, the way it was coded, like this is a slick developer.
I think that they think that he hired somebody. Like that he funded Satoshi's multiple people.
I don't think. Well, okay, yeah, you never know. That could be true.
I'll say it's in the files.
I
don't know. I have to see it.
Satoshi could be multiple people. I mean, it could be
that I can believe. Yeah. I can believe. But I do think that documentary had me, because it was the first time that I've forever, right, when it comes to this whole Bitcoin thing, forever I've been saying to people, like, look at the code. Like, if you want the best fingerprint to find this person, look at the code. Look at the way it was written. Like, it is like forensics. Like, look at it. Right. And every time I see a documentary, no one ever spoke about the code. And then I saw this documentary trailer and it was like, we're interviewing the guy that developed the language and asking him about the code and like what he thought about it. And then I was like, now we're onto something. Now you might actually find who this person is, because that is the secret source, I think, to finding Satoshi. But I haven't seen the documentary. I haven't read all the Epstein files, so I don't know. I'm still like, I just thought it was like an awesome like docuseries that I really want to like get into. I think that would be cool. Yeah, like that one. And serial killers. I've still got a thing for serial killers. Like, I'm obsessed with that stuff. I watch any documentary.
You're British. What? You guys are the OGs of famous serial killers, right?
What? The OG serial killers.
What?
No.
Just because of like that one dude from like medieval England. Listen,
that one guy Jack, from how many years ago now?
Listen. The only reason you don't have a Jack the Ripper is because, like, was there even an America during Jack the Ripper? Like, that's the only reason. Since then, you've given us like Ted Bundy, like all these crazy dudes. Like, America is like serial killer haven. In fact, wasn't it the FBI that developed the whole like serial killer analysis like team that like worked out how serial killers are and the way they think and all that kind of stuff?
Are you talking about the TV show? The TV
Mindhunter.
Criminal Minds?
No, Mindhunter is the documentary. Well, it's a fictional show, but it's based on.
It's a fictional show, but it's a documentary, basically.
Well, no. It's a fictional show, but it's the story of. It's based on a true story, which is
Netflix,
FBI.
right? On Netflix.
I think it might be. Yeah, I don't know, because I'm in the UK, so our Netflix isn't the same as your Netflix.
Right.
Unless we like VPN. In which case,
yeah, we don't do that.
No, why would we? We wouldn't do that. No one. They might be banned in the UK soon, so that's cool. They're banning VPNs in the UK. Yeah. Fun times.
I knew a guy when I was working for this company at Piron, I knew a guy. I can't even remember. I can't remember his last name. His first name was Brian. He tried to run for mayor though of London. He moved to London.
Yeah, that American guy. Yeah,
you know him.
I know that he tried to run for mayor, and he was basically like some Wall Street looking
YouTube.
Dude.
They removed his YouTube channel.
Yeah, but that's because the guy was a giant dick. He was like a big, massive penis. Like this is like a guy that's like, listen. Let me explain this to you. You need to understand British culture, right? You can't try and become the mayor of London and act like a guy from New York Wall Street. If you think that the British public is going to get behind a guy, doesn't matter what he says, who's literally like New Yorker, like Wall Street guy. Then he had this YouTube and he was interviewing all these like conspiracy people and like, so you're like, oh, and you're also going to give us the branding that you're a bit, you're a bit cuckoo. Yeah. You're a bit, rubbing crystals and all this stuff. So you're a New Yorker Wall Street guy who's got a background of grifting that's been evidenced, right? That you've spoken to, that you've kind of made your story for. Fair enough. Everyone's got a story. Maybe that's, maybe he did some things he regrets. Fine. Okay, we can forgive that. But he's just like, it was just laughable. I think there was a guy that also went up for the election called Captain Binface. And he dresses up as he dresses up as a garbage bin, and I think he beat him. I think Binface beat him.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not getting. Look up Binface.
I don't really know. I don't really know Brian. He was friends with he was pretty close friends with my my boss, my mentor. Like they were really close. And I will say that when because he used to have that show London Real, and I used to watch London Real, but I watched London Real before the whole, the disease that shall not be named happened in 2020.
London
Real was his thing. And I used to watch his show.
That wasn't too bad, but then it took a real twist.
Well, yeah, he started having guys like David Icke on his show,
and the rest.
Yeah, well, I don't have a problem with David Icke, but that was when it went as soon as you get a guy like that, you have to understand what comes with David Icke, right? Nothing good comes with David Icke, really, in terms of publicity and moving forward on things. So when you're gonna make that turn, and I think he just he tried to do the shift just altogether too much, too hardcore. But I mean, he used to have some really interesting people. He used to have he had a lot of bodybuilders back in the day on his show. He had Dorian on his show, which was a really interesting interview. He had Ben Pekulski on his show, which was a really great interview.
He was really and he was very pro digital currency.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of healthy discussion that he would bring about that. And I thought that was really great. I used to enjoy those conversations.
Yeah, it was about health and economy.
Yeah. So but then it just kind of went a bit around the time, like you say, he started going into major anti-English kind of territory culturally. So it's like what do you? It's not about my personal opinion. It's about what do you think is going to happen? And what happens is Count Binface wins. You can't. Yeah, I've literally sent you guys the image of Count Binface so you can see what he actually looks like. That's on WhatsApp. That's Count Binface.
I'm going to share this real quick in case anyone watches this later on.
Oh my god,
this is too epic.
Yeah, that's Count Binface. They're right there. He's currently, I think he's also up against Nigel Farage at the moment for collective.
Oh wait, this is real?
Yeah.
So with those pads on, does he go around and fight dirty streets? Does he clean them up? He looks like a superhero, C-tier superhero.
He's to be fair to him, right? He's obviously kind of classic satire, right? He's ridiculing the political system, but in interviews, he's incredible. In interviews,
who is interviewing this guy?
Not all trash is equal. Some is better.
We got to get this guy on the pod. I don't know how we're gonna do it. We got to have him on.
He'll do it. He'll do
At
it.
some point. Yeah,
Count Binface. Count Binface will do it. There's a chart. Look, this is him. This is him.
There's a
This is a good picture. I like this one. This is him when the elections were going on with Boris Johnson, who ended up being the the prime minister at some point.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, this is him when they were doing their election discussions.
Okay. Here, I'm sharing.
Yeah. So like, there you go. It's legit. Yeah. Count Binface. Yeah, there he is. He's competing.
Very professional looking too, with his hands and stuff.
He means business.
He's been
here to
trained.
He's here to clean up the trash. Yeah. He's
wonderful. Yeah.
That actually is so many jokes. You could be like, Boris, in here, get in here.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many, but all jokes, like these guys, like this, these clowns, like it's interesting, like the business politics of it. Like Sam Altman for me was like the grade A, like bad guy with AI, right?
Yeah.
And when you had all the great people, the great researchers, forget the Andre Karpathy's who went off to do like, other stuff. But like when you had these great researchers leaving on Exodus, all claiming how unethical what OpenAI was doing was in terms of their race to superintelligence and their lack of care. And then Anthropic came around and everyone was like Dario, the hero. And then you've got like recent news of Dario being told to leave the room because he's weird, It's like, in the debates with like Trump administration about like,
which is that's a crazy statement.
Yeah, but have you read? Okay, seriously, no jokes now. Have you read Dario's papers that he's wrote about AI? You can read them on his website. He's wrote 3 particular papers. He's wrote 3 papers. Seriously, I recommend everybody read them, because if you want to know what he thinks about AI and people, it is seriously dystopian and seriously scary. Like he really does talk from that place of AI should be making the decisions. There should be no democracies in the world. And the person that owns the most powerful AI will be the one that will make that decision. And there's all of this. If you read his papers, it's seriously unsettling. Like, and there's been a few people that have spoken about this, and I was like, oh, I have to read them. So I read them. I used some human intelligence, some HI, and I read them. And I'll be honest with you, they gave me,
the loop. Yeah.
They get inside the loop, right. /clear. Yeah. I had some genuinely like chilling like moments like reading it. And I was like, is that what this guy really thinks? I was like, wow, that is not what I thought. When he was talking about safety and whatever else, he is, as the Trump administration told him, he is a bit weird. Like he's a bit weird, and not in a like autistic way, not in a like, oh, you're really smart, and so with that some eccentricity, like the wonderful world of autism and neurodivergence, but more like you're just like not quite right up there. Like there's something wrong.
Imagine like it's like when they said that, it's like imagine being in a room full of like people who are like protecting child molesters and closeted homosexuals, and you're like sitting there and they're like, no, you're the weird one, like leave the fucking room, dude. Like, can you not read the room? Like, we're so sick of you. Like, who are you? What are you doing?
Go
like,
buy some pizza. Go buy some pizza. Yeah, go buy some pizza.
Here's a 20.
They're like, no, this guy's too much, dude. This guy, this is where we draw the line. I'm like, what was he doing in this room?
Well, apparently there was a story that I don't know where I saw this, and this is completely, I don't know if this is true, but there was a story that he was like, there was one point where
talk up the rumor mill. Yes.
Yeah, he was like rocking. He was like rocking in his chair, and he was like muttering to himself, like they must have Fable. They must have Fable. It was just like,
no, I don't. There's no way.
Listen. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Now look, it may have been, albeit from a random Instagram reel.
Okay, yeah. We're gonna get AI footage of this, like somebody needs to make
sucking his
this.
thumb
but I can see it. I can see it, man. Like he's an odd dude. There's also a really good, all jokes aside, there is a good CNN interview or something with him, and he is odd, dude. He is so uncomfortably odd. Like it's just like, I don't know, man. Like,
why? Out of curiosity, because I know I read that Dario and his sister Danielle Amadeo were the ones that co-founded Anthropic technically, but you never see Danielle anywhere or hear about her. Like, why is that? You would think with how weird Dario is that Danielle would be a better,
How'd you know?
For the.
How'd you know?
I don't. That's what I'm.
Maybe Danielle's locked up.
I remember
in a padded room going.
I remember on the
mythos.
I remember on the James Franco roast on Comedy Central. This was like 6 years ago. I don't know how long it was. 6-7 years ago at this point. I remember like somebody, I think maybe it was like Nick Kroll, made a joke to Seth Rogen, because Seth Rogen has a productions partner that he makes movies with. And he's like, I can't imagine what the other guy in this situation must look like for you to be the face of the operation. He's like, I just imagine this sweaty guy in a closet eating a pastrami sandwich. He's like, just being like, we need to write 9 more dick jokes on page 4. Yeah. And at the end, they need to smoke a lot of weed, and at the end, they go to the movie, and they're not friends, and then they're friends, and then they're not friends, and then they're friends again. He's like, that's what I imagine the board meetings are like at this company. He's like, because what? Like, who chose this guy to be? He's like, that other guy's got to be absolutely busted for you to be the face of this productions company. But that's why I imagine like people are like, well, where is Danielle? I'm like, dude, maybe we don't want to know. Like maybe that's just the situation, or maybe he just controls, everything. Maybe he just controls it. Maybe Dario is
Schmeagle.
Maybe Danielle doesn't even exist. Maybe Danielle is a figment of Dario's imagination.
That would be amazing. That would be the most amazing.
It's like his alter ego.
Like the end of the movie. Like it's just him in his room going like, oh, would you like some tea, Danielle? Oh, I'd like some. Thank you. Ooh. It's just like him in some padded room.
What is that?
Fable.
That movie with the split personalities. Oh yeah, my God, it's a series of, or there's 3 of them. Anyways, I'm just picturing Dario being like, oh, I'll go get Danielle. Goes in, comes back out in the dress.
He comes back with a mask on, like a wig. Yeah.
Oh, that is so funny, dude.
I'm here. What
this is some psycho, some psycho at level conspiracy here. Dude. So we'll see.
Oh, man.
We'll see as this play out.
Yeah. This will play out, dudes. What do you think? We're gonna get some more AI talk. What do you think of the whole like moonshot distilling, like Anthropic's models, Anthropic doing this like trap to try and programmatically prove? I mean, Alibaba basically just went, we're not using any of your models anymore because we know what you're up to, and we are distilling them. So like, what do you think about all that? Cool.
Can you hit us with a hard one? Or
I feel like people are. I feel like they're playing into the whole process of like people are demanding like kind of like the rebellion type of attitude of like rebel against the top brands, like kind of like the eat the rich mentality, and that's becoming like the rich are becoming like the top main 4, right? And then everyone who kind of rebels against them, it really doesn't even matter what how the model really produces. You'll get these like groups of people that like try to catapult this model into the public image of like this is game changing. Like no one's going to be paying your Anthropic tokens anymore. No one's going to be subject to being held prisoner.
Okay. So here's the let me give you the context, right? So for Feb 2026, Anthropic publicly accused, I think it was what, DeepSeek, Minimax, and Moonshot. I'm just looking at the notes here. For coordinating distillation attacks, right?
Which was true.
Right, yeah. So generating more than 16 million exchanges with its Claude models, using thousands of fraudulent accounts, roughly 24,000 accounts, right?
That's insane.
Right? Of the three firms, Anthropic found that Minimax drove the most traffic with over 13 million of the 16 million exchanges, right? That's important to know. Their attribution method, they say they trace these accounts to specific researchers at the lab, and for Moonshot, matched request metadata to public profiles of senior staff. In June, Dario, aka Dario and Daniela Asmodi, escalated with figures of 25,000 accounts linked to Alibaba and 28.8 million suspicious transactions, right? Now, okay. So here's the thing, right? Distillation is not illegal, right? You can argue the ethics, but Anthropic have distilled, right? Everybody distills.
Everything,
right?
everything at the end of the day. I mean, what is Google? Google is an entire, basically a product built off of distillation,
data,
basically.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. And so like I feel like the only issue was this tens of thousands of fraudulent accounts, right? Which I think is obnoxious. Like I think that's a liberty. But as a consumer, if that distillation, let's say, led to Kimi K3, and it's a pretty good model, I quite dig it, I quite like it. Do I think it's Fable? No. But do I think it's pretty good? And do I think the price stuff is reasonable? Yeah. Am I happy? Yeah. Do I want to use Chinese models? Maybe.
So here's what I think. Here's what I can compare it to. So here's what I have a real world example, and my real world example is this. Okay. Now, this was extremely hard for me to acquire. I had to wait. I had to basically go through back channels to get this watch, because at one time, this specific color of this watch, this is a new Skydweller reference Rolex, just for people who can't really see the screen, or you're listening, you're not watching. So but the thing is like I've seen people replicate this watch. And I had an opportunity to pay $2,000 for a replication with the exact same movement, literally identical material. Or I could pay 10x that amount and try to go hunt it down and go pay for. But the difference is, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, China has always been great at producing top tier replicated product. And the thing is like people like, oh well, you're an idiot because you paid 10x what I could buy for 2x. My whole thing is I'm like, okay, but my whole thing is I'm like, if my life goes to absolute shit, I can still sell this for what I pretty much bought it for. Actually, it's a little bit more probably for what I bought it for. Now, that can go down and up, but relatively, it's always probably going to stay kind of close to where it was at. So, like, let's say that if my life goes to like dog shit and I have no opportunity. I'm like, hey, my savings got destroyed. Somebody did this. I can turn around and sell this like a gold bar. Basically, it's that liquidable that I can go and sell this tomorrow and find somebody who will pay me for it.
How much do you think the resale value is on the tokens that you've used?
That's what I'm saying, is that's the difference, is like it's there's really, at that level, there's really no difference. What I'm saying is, like, with this, at least I have a distinct difference.
Yeah, totally.
But I have papers, I have a reference card, I have all these different things. But when it comes to people actually replicating, when they're replicating models per se, like, I do think that there is a real threat that is serious. But at the end of the day, I don't think, because what I've realized is, my point is, I'm like, I don't think it's ever going to be as big of a threat to Anthropic as these little groups of people are trying to make it out to be. Like, as good as Kimi K3 is,
it's great. It's a great model.
Yeah, no one who knows,
and it's unique,
who is like on this level, like in the when you're talking about the people who are in like the 99th percentile of AI, right, or the 95 or the 96th percentile of people who use AI inside of their life in some capacity, are not making the switch because there's not enough of a financial difference. And if you're a company operating off of the enterprise value of Anthropic, and you're already partnered with them, and they've come in and they've set all this stuff up or whatever, you're not going like, oh, well, let's switch over to Kimi K3, because it's like, you're not doing it. So I don't think, I mean, I honestly, at the end of the day, I think it's hilarious, and I think it actually drives competitive value, because it forces these companies to work harder. Like, this is why, like, I hated when Spirit Airlines went out of business, not because I loved the quality of Spirit Airlines. Like, I mostly fly Delta, but there were certain cases where I couldn't fly direct on Delta or whatever. So I jump on a Spirit flight, though, and I could be there within, 3 hours, versus if I go to Delta, I'm there in 8 hours. Right. And it's like, and to be honest, like, first class in Delta versus first class in Spirit is like, it's not that much of a difference in a domestic flight that you're going to be like, whoa, like, I'm living like royalty. Like, no, the difference is you get like a free drink, you know what I'm saying, or some free peanuts, and maybe like a TV to watch. Versus
you don't even get that anymore, because
no, it's so that's what I'm saying. Like, but the value of Spirit drove these competitive markets to them to always be like, well, we can't, like, we got to at least be above Spirit, right? Like, we can't like go down a notch. But now, like, if they wipe everybody away at the bottom level, there's nobody there to drive the competitive aspect of those of the premium at the top. Like, so this forces Kimi to have to be, or Kimi forces Anthropic, OpenAI, Grok, all these companies to be in a position where they have to now be like, because like you said, they can't, I mean, they can't stop it. I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to go, it was like, it's funny, like in the Wolf of Wall Street movie, where they're talking about like how they're moving this money to the Swiss banks. And the guy's like, yeah, like, what are they going to do? They're going to roll a tank down the fucking street. Like, they're going to ship a tank over here, like the United States, and bust up, like, what, they're going to attack the Swiss bank? Like, no, they're not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, how are they going to get your money? How are they coming after it? It's like the same thing. It's like, we're not going to China. Like, I mean, what is, like, Sam Altman's going to cry hard enough, or Dario's going to throw a fit big enough that Trump's going to be like, all right, you know what? Let's take the naval, set the Navy, and let's go park our ass in front of Shanghai and start throwing missiles into the, like, it's not happening.
At their data
They're
centers.
not doing it. So it's like, what exactly, like, what is there's no reparations. There's nothing coming. And they will continue to do this. So all they can do is try to make their security tighter, which is impossible, because you're never going to be able to make your security so tight that these guys in China, who literally grow up and spend their entire fucking lives in front of a computer screen, digesting data since they're 6 years old of how to hack into the world's most elite systems on Earth, you're not beating that guy by the time he's 25 trying to crack your system, because every time they just keep upping the game, more people in China are just getting older and older and they've been learning this, like getting more advanced since they were like 5, 6 years old. It's like, that's all they do.
And
so yeah, like what are you gonna do? You can't do anything. So you have to basically understand that this is just gonna be an ecosystem that you're gonna live in. And you're just gonna have to try to come out with things faster. And the thing is, like, it's just kind of like the whole aspect of luxury cars versus the car brand that does like the baseline of the luxury, right? Like Toyota is not putting Lexus under value, and Lexus is not undervaluing Toyota. And at some point, like I think like they also like they operate off of like their same parent company owns both vehicles now. So like really at the end of the day, you're not, luxury is never going to defeat cost of opportunity.
But Daniela's upset.
Get the pretty dress. Get the pretty dress.
Borderline, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that they do this. Not because of the fact that I want to use Kimmy K so bad inside of my business and save token costs. Just that I just think it's amazing that it keeps this health level.
I'm curious, do you think that there's any difference, because we're comparing goods to services a little bit here, and I think that differentiating between the two is important, right? Like cars are goods, watches are goods.
Yeah.
AI models, LLM usage is a service. And so if you can get the service for considerably lower, it does drive down the market, and that brand name recognition doesn't carry as much weight with it, right? Because Lexus, you just know, like, oh, it's a Lexus. Like you in your mind, you're like, oh, that's the premier of the premier, and it's a good you own. It's a status symbol. But at the end of the day, like if you're using, cheap service to clean your house, I mean, all these, millionaires they'll pay a little bit more for house cleaners, right? So they trust them, but they're still looking for the best, cheapest deal they can for that service. Yet in front of everyone else, they're going to buy goods that make them look like they're not cheap.
But Chase, it's open weight. You can run it locally.
I
got one DGX Spark. Yeah, I could run the 2.6 trillion model, no problem.
Here's what I think. Because I work directly on design. Okay. Like, so I work in our business, I work directly from the front end perspective of everything. And I can tell you, I've messed around, and I have obviously like basically a custom harness when it comes to video and image production, essentially at this point. So like other people like playing around with like coding agents and coding harnesses. Does that my harness based around image and video production. And I can tell you that, like, yeah, I mean, I can use Alibaba's horse model, right, or whatever it's called, and I've ran it. I've ran every video to image model and looked at the exact same prompt across everything. I've ran all my own benchmarks across every model and every single way that you can try to tweak it. It just doesn't come out the same. Like, yeah, Seedream is 5.0 is a little bit cheaper than Nano Banana, but the quality of what you can produce with Nano Banana versus Seedream is significantly so much better that small token difference that Seedream can do and produce versus what Nano Banana produces on the it's astronaut. It's so astronomical that it doesn't even matter what the cost is. So
but I also think Nano Banana is not bad. Like, I compare Nano Banana and Image 2. Like, they're both quite similar in terms of like
a lot of similar, but they're specialized in different things.
Yeah, but one is a lot cheaper to use. Like,
Nano Banana is way cheaper.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not, so it's like,
I think image and video, though, is also kind of a little different just because it hasn't caught up and it's not quite as competitive yet. I think because it's lagging behind text generation models. I think the text generation models are so much, closer to each other. And also the differences in pricing is so vast because you'll have one model that's running, it's
I think for the technical guy, right? Like the technical coder that's coming in and doing stuff. I think who it helps is like you want to do an independent business where you're operating with like 2 or 3 guys and you guys are coding and developing things and working with AI for small businesses or individuals or things like that, or you're building like apps and doing all these things, like, yeah, for you, yes, it makes an astronomical difference. And I think it's the same market. What I'm saying is, I think it's the same market when it comes to like Spirit Airlines versus Delta. What I'm saying is like the thing for me is, what I'm saying is, like, when you get like the business guy who's flying on his company's credit card, is my point. He's choosing whether to fly Delta first class, go to the the Sky Lounge at Atlanta Airport and hang out until his next flight. He's not even really considering the distinct time difference associated with that versus going like, okay, well, like I can fly Spirit Airlines first class. I actually save my company X amount of dollars. And then also at the same time I jump on, I'm there quicker and more efficiently. He's there to eat up the company's dime. Same thing if I'm a worker at a big corporate enterprise company, I just don't give a shit enough that Kimi K3 is that much more efficient and cheaper than Opus 4.8. I don't care. So like
it's not that much cheaper, but in
any capacity, I'm just saying, like, especially on scale, it gets, when you talk about on scale things, now things get significantly cheaper, right? Because the smaller things are, the difference is not that big. But if you're talking about things running operations and automations on like large scales, then now the cost becomes astronomically different. Because if I have a unit that I can buy for $2 a unit versus $4 a unit, yeah, if I buy 10 units, I really can't tell that much. So I'm going to really end up choosing the best quality versus the best the cheapest output. But if I buy 1,000 units, now I'm really looking at distinctly different. I'm like, okay, now I really got to look at my cost here. But the thing is it's going to have to be a corporate decision. It's never going to happen at the middle layer where these guys are already, they're skimming off of their company's API token usage. They're not paying attention. Like, they don't even pay attention to the topics that we're discussing. So when we're sitting here talking back and forth, we're talking right now, the people that are listening to us right now, the people that we're talking to are the people that are like the 1% or less of people using it. You're the 1% or less, right? Like, we're the 1% or less of the people that are using AI. Even if you're like base level, like I have no business working for a tech company. I have no business working for a tech company. But like, I'm still in the 1% of AI users in the country. So like, or in the world.
For sure. In the world.
Huh?
In the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also I know Kim and I were talking the other day about those of us that don't have large budgets where we can just token max all day and it doesn't matter. We have to be scrappier. And so we have to find ways to be efficient with what we're doing. And so I think we're actually developing better skills and a deeper understanding of
100%
these models, of effort levels, of all of the parameters that actually affect cost, usage. Because Daniel, it's such a great point, man. Like, those numbers as to how much money, what was it? Was it Uber or Lyft?
Yeah, Uber.
20
but
billion
yearly,
in the first 4 months or something?
Yeah. Their yearly
totally
token budget
insane.
was wiped in a month.
Yeah, so you have developers or whoever's using it the most at those companies that they're like, oh, I'm just going to crank this up to max. Why would I use effort low?
Turn it up, boys.
Yeah, like, just crank it up. And
let's token max this bitch.
Yeah, well, I have 400 agents running at one time.
Yeah,
great. Like, why?
Tell IQ I send my love. I just like Fable max effort. Check my email.
If you're operating though off of company tokens, you're like it's the bottom line. Like, you don't, and the bottom, and what's the poisonous aspect is then you have guys like Jensen Wong who are sitting there doing podcasts, And Jensen Wong is absolutely just trying to pull sound bites out of his ass. Like he is the king of trying to find a sound bite in every interview that people will just take and just re-roll and re-roll and re-roll and re-roll to drive Nvidia's price stock. And he's great at that. He is actually really great at finding the next.
He's a really bright guy, dude.
Jensen Wong is me. Listen, I'm down here. Jensen Wong is up here. I want to make that clear. I'm not shitting on Jensen Wong. Jensen Wong is way up here. Yeah, he is really smart when it comes to doing these shows and podcasts that he can pull these talking points that have no business being said. And he knows that. It's exactly why he says it, because he goes in an interview and he says something like, they ask him a question, well, when do you think we're going to get AGI? And he's like, I think it's here. You know what I mean? What do you mean? Like, I think AGI is here right now. He's like, really? He's like, yeah, it's here. So it's kind of like, okay, maybe. I mean, like, but then you get these people who make content and they go, then AGI is here becomes the headline. NVIDIA founder Jensen Wong, CEO and NVIDIA founder, just says AGI is here. And it becomes this massive headline. So what does everybody do? Everybody goes on Kalshi. Everybody goes on all these. They go on Robinhood. They go on their Charles Schwab accounts, and they go, put me down for 20,000 shares of NVIDIA, because they want to double down on their NVIDIA stock, because the founder of NVIDIA just made a statement saying AGI is here. So now he gives no evidence in this interview as to why AGI exists. Right, why it's here, what it is, the explanation of it, all these things. He just makes a blanketed statement, and then
there's a really funny video.
The stock goes like this overnight.
There's a really funny video of Jason. He walks up to a food truck. It's on YouTube. See if you can find it. He walks up to a food truck and he basically wants to bypass the queue. Okay. So he comes up with the idea of, I'm going to push into the front, massive queue. I'm talking like 20 people, right? Waiting. And he comes in and he basically says, I'm so sorry. You don't mind if I just cut in, right? And he cuts in, he says, I'll pay for everyone's food. All right. And the guy in the food truck goes, they've already paid. Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, I'll pay for them again." And the guy goes, "Okay, right?" And no one says anything. And there's all these cameras, and so he pays again for everybody. But afterwards, there was a guy. I didn't think much of it. I thought like, "Oh, like what a dick!" Like he's just throwing like. But then I thought like, it's funny, right? Like funny. But then someone made the point of like, hold on a second. If everyone's paid, doesn't that mean that they're just waiting and he was at the front of the queue?
He was in the front of the line the whole entire time.
So did he just offer to pay for everyone's shit? And the guy in the truck's like, okay, if you want to pay me for everyone's order again, cool, like whatever. Like it was just a weird like interaction. See if you can find it. I'm going to try and find it.
Yeah, I need to see this.
I saw one at I think it was like a tiki bar, where he did something similar, where he's like, "Oh, I'll buy drinks for everyone." Jensen Wong.
I'm gonna try and find it.
I feel like
I found it. Let's
see.
Here we go. I'm gonna just. Okay, let me just send the link. Hold on, let me send the link. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Whoever's got access to share screen, yeah. That's the one. That's the clip.
Oh yeah,
screen. Pull it up.
Here, I got it. Oh, wait. I'm dumb. Don't mind me. I need to share sound. Oh, it's sharing. Okay. Let's see.
Okay, what I buy everybody's. Can I get the first one? 够吗？给买到，没有关系，没有关系。OK， 我再付一次。要付钱。
我赔耶。
OK。哇，多少喝价？这些很有名。 Hey guys, this is so good. I buy everybody's. Can I get the first one?
Wait, what?
We've already paid.
We've already paid. He's like, oh, I'll just pay anyway, like for everybody.
Did he just want to be served first?
Yeah. He was trying to cut the queue.
Well, maybe that was the thing. Maybe they were waiting for their food. He wanted his food first,
but he didn't realize, and he wanted to jump the queue, and so he's like, I'll pay for everything. And then they said to him, well, no, because everyone's already paid. And for some reason, that didn't register in his mind that means that he was probably next anyway. So he's like, well, I'll just pay for everything anyway. And then the driver's like, okay.
What was he? I couldn't even tell. Was that like a
corn dog? Like a Chinese kind of food truck. I don't know, like a.
It said it was a Taiwan market.
Right.
It's the worst thing that ever happened to.
I just saw that and I was just like, oh boy.
Corn dog. The corn dog is the worst thing to ever happen to food in the history.
We don't have them. We don't have them in the UK.
I know. Yeah.
And obviously, we have fantastic food in the UK. So.
You're known for your cuisine, yeah.
We are. we are.
Yeah, your grits and your or whatever. Your
grits.
Yeah,
that's American. Grits. We don't have grits.
What is it that you guys have for breakfast?
Guys.
Porridge, thank you.
Guys, let's demystify this nonsense for the international.
Do you have like ketchup
listeners.
on toast too, or something?
Oh, hold on a moment.
Is this the fire up Tim part of the show?
Guys, you know, like the great Michelin star chefs of the world, right? Considering the population in America and the population in the UK, how Gordon Ramsay, Heston Blumenthal, do you think these guys aren't good chefs? Do you think they're not like?
But where do they train? These guys they go train in. Where do they train? They train in the UK. No, they go train in France.
Yeah,
they go train in Italy.
France,
they go train in
Munch, Italy, Sicily. What does it matter? I mean, at the end of the day, they're good old British beef. You know, they're cooking. They're Brits. Hey, a little bit of spotted dick, bop. A little bit of roast dinner, smash. A little bit of eggs on toast, fry up, bacon. You know, booyah. Like,
hey, we got Rocky Mountain oysters for your spotted dicks. So,
wow, oysters.
Rocky Mountain oysters. You know what those are?
Most of no. How many Americans are from Irish heritage?
They're not oysters.
No. But I'm saying, like, this is
I don't know
British
if
cuisine.
I don't know.
this is okay. Italian's a bit different. Italian's great food, right? I'm not going to knock Italian food. Italian food is great, fantastic food. The Mediterraneans definitely have great food, so I can't take a dig at that. But American cuisine, what is American cuisine? Burgers. Is that like fast food? Is that American cuisine? Like what else is there out there?
That might be number one though across the board. I think I don't know, like burgers. Burgers has to be number one in terms of fast food. It has to be number one across 100%.
100%. But that's what you're proud of? A burger, a bit of meat in a couple of buns, which aren't even American buns, like a brioche. That's your cuisine. That's what you're proud of. Come on, guys. Come on. Let's look. This Italians, the
barbecue,
veal, the Milano, the pasta, but barbecue. I'll give you. I'll give you barbecue. because the Americans are definitely at a different level when it comes to barbecue.
I think with American cuisine it's the mixture of everything. That's the magic.
And what do you think us colonizers have? You don't think we've got a mixture of everything?
No, you guys are too pure.
If I go to London, I would give me a recommendation on what restaurants, because everybody's like, oh, this Italian restaurant down the street, this French restaurant down the road from your hotel. That's exactly where you should go.
Absolutely, with British chefs.
Do they have British restaurants?
Sure, of course. World-class Michelin
Michelin
restaurant.
I just thought you guys were the colonizers, so you took all the other shops, put them in the UK, and then we're like, oh, they're all British.
I mean, we throw the occasional international spice in there, but that's like part and parcel of le cuisine.
I think we've reached the context window where now we're getting into context rot at this point. Yeah. we gotta compact. We gotta compact and reserve till the next show.
I agree.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time today, as always. Catch you guys.
Like and subscribe
on the next one.
See you guys next Sunday.
All right. Peace, guys.
Yeah.